All right. All right, we'll start. Welcome everyone to the Old Colony MPO meeting of July 16th. Charlie, can you put those up? I'll first do the accessibility statement. Accessibility statement in Title VI non-discrimination statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. If you'd like this accommodation, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. And the notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is included on this meeting's agenda, is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website at https://oldcolonyplanning.org, or you can contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. All right, Charlie, do we just go right to the roll then?
Yes.
All right.
Steve Woelfel.
Steve Woelfel, Representative Secretary, NCO of MassDOT. Monica Tippett-Snutt here.
Richard Bilski.
Rich Bilski, representing Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
John Messia.
John Messia, representing Mayor Sullivan, City of Brockton. Thank you.
Lee Hartman.
Lee Hartman, Town of Plymouth.
Michael Perez.
Michael Perez, West Bridgewater, alternate.
Thank you. Dan Salvucci.
Present.
Mike Lambert.
I am here.
And Becky Coletta.
President, Old Colony Planning Council.
Great, thank you. Chair, we do have a quorum present.
All right, next agenda item, please, Charlie. So as unfortunately, Secretary Tippett-Snutt was not, she had a late breaking meeting that was a conflict. Obviously, she would have loved to be here, but I believe we're planning on her trying to attend in September. Right, Charlie? I think that's, I don't know if I was supposed to say that to you, but I think that's what we're now targeting.
That's correct.
Yeah, Secretary Tippett-Snutt is trying to get to every MPO meeting. Just with the calendar, it's tough, but she's going to make it through all of them. So we look forward to seeing her in September. All right, next agenda item, Charlie. Old Colony Regional Priorities and Updates. So I think this is you, Becky? Or Charlie? I don't know who.
Yeah, well, our thought was that if the secretary was here, we're going to tee up local
Right, so we're gonna hold
regional
this till
priorities
September,
or push this to September.
All
Unless
right,
President Coletta wanted to say
Okay.
welcome.
All right, so we'll skip this and we'll go to agenda item 4. Which is public comments. Are there any members of the public like to address the MPO today? All right, seeing none, let's move to agenda item 5. All right, we have the meetings of June 18th. Can I get a motion second to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make that motion, Dan from Whitman.
I'll second.
All right, I think Becky, were you the second?
Sure.
All right. All right, any questions, comments, or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, Charlie, you want to read the roll?
Yes, Steve Woelfel.
Yes.
Rich Bilski.
Abstain.
John Messia.
Yes.
Lee Hartman.
Yes.
Michael Perez.
Yes.
Dan Salvucci.
Yes.
Mike Lambert.
Yes.
And Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Chair, before we go on to the next item, if it would be all right with you and the MPO, if I forgot again to call the ex officio members in the roll call.
All right, go ahead.
Noreen O'Toole, Old Colony JTC. Josh Barber, Federal Highway. And Kirsty Hostetter, Federal Transit.
This is Bethany Cochran. I'm filling in for Joshua Barber at Federal Highway.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Let's move to the next agenda item, Charlie, which is agenda item 6, which is the Brockton Area Transit Authority report. Michael, take it away.
Thank you, Chair. We have good news to report. Ridership levels continue to increase, and we're now at least a 22-year high. And that is, of course, boosted by our fare-free program, which we were able to extend through the end of the calendar year, thanks to funding from the last year's state budget that was continued into this year. Our first set of electric buses have arrived on property, and we're working on going through training and setting up our charging equipment for a fall ribbon cutting. And we recently received a grant from MassDOT to provide transportation via Uber, Lyft, and taxi during overnight hours for people who commute to work between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that will be open to all of our member communities. So stay tuned to hear more about that.
All right, any questions for Michael? All right, thank you, Michael. I believe Mary Ellen's here from GATRA on agenda item 7.
Yes, thank you. So GATRA is also seeing increases in ridership that are continuing, although sounds like BAT is doing really well with that. So congratulations to BAT. We have our new diesel buses have just hit property, and they will be going out in service next week. So you will start seeing those in the Plymouth Wareham area. We are working on the design of our new Wareham station that will cover Plymouth and Wareham, and we will be rolling electric vans out of that site. The vans will be here this summer, so you may start seeing those showing up in various areas, but they will primarily be stationed down in Wareham once we build that new facility. We do have some more electric buses hopefully getting here this summer, so it's great that the bus orders are finally catching up with our need so that we can look at expanding service come the fall. We're looking at some of our routes going a little bit later, depending on what makes sense given their ridership. So that is where we are with GATRA right now.
Any questions, Mary Ellen? All right, thank you, Mary Ellen. We're moving on to agenda item 8, which is adjustments and amendments. I believe we have some. So Bill, I think Bill's doing it, right, Charlie? So take it away, Bill.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have a couple of action items today for the FFY 2024 to 2028 TIP. The first of which is amendment number 4, which has been out on the streets for public view and comment period over the past month since our last meeting. On your screen, you can see just a reminder of what amendment 4 entailed. So that was community transit grants, 5310 program to Brockton Area Transit Authority and the South Shore Community Action Council. Those grants will be used for both of those agencies to purchase new vehicles, which will help increase mobility assistance throughout the Commonwealth. This amendment was advertised in the Patriot Ledger and Brockton Enterprise. It was also directly mailed to our contact list that we use for the Joint Transportation Committee, and it was presented to our Board of Directors at their June meeting. If you just want to, I think I have the comment matrix here. Yep. So they, yeah, it was, like I said, it was presented to our Board of Directors. They approved it as presented, and that was our only public comment received. So with that, I'd ask this body to entertain a vote to endorse amendment 4.
All right, can I get a motion second to endorse amendment number 4?
I'll make that motion. Okay, I'll second it, Dan Salvucci.
All right, any questions for Bill? All right, seeing none. Charlie, you want to read the roll?
Steve Woefel,
Yes.
Rich Bilski,
Yes.
John Messia,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Michael Perez,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Mike Lambert,
Yes.
Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, Bill, I think we have an adjustment too, right?
Yep, correct.
All right.
So second and last but not least, we have adjustment number 3. So this is to adjust the costs on two Brockton area transit projects slightly in the tip. So essentially, you can see it's just moving $5,000 from one project to another. So one's going down in price by 5,000, the other one's going up in price. Overall funding for Brockton area transit is staying the same. It's just moving those funds between those two projects. And also, we had a content revision to the tip. Brockton area, Old Colony Planning Council is in the process of applying for an ATIP grant through the U.S. Department of Transportation bipartisan infrastructure grant discretionary grant program. As such, that project does need to be identified in the tip. So this is a minor revision to the existing tip document, adding this project to the universe of projects table. So you can see right at the bottom there, it's the interregional multimodal active transportation network. And if awarded this grant would be used to work in cooperation with bordering MPOs to create to plan for an interregional bicycle network. So this is an adjustment. This does not require a public review and comment period, but rather just a spot approval from this board.
Yeah.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve adjustment 3?
I'll
I
make that
move.
motion, Dan from Whitman.
I'll second it.
All right, any questions for Bill?
No, very simple.
All right, Charlie, you want to read the roll?
Steve Wolfle,
Yes.
Rich Bilski,
Yes.
John Messier,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Michael Perez,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All
Thanks,
right,
everyone.
thank you, Bill. We'll now move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 9, Old Colony Safe Streets for All Action Plan. Charlie, I'm not sure who's doing this, so.
I believe it's Jacqueline Centrario from Beta Group.
All right, go ahead, take it away.
He's muted.
And we do
Sorry,
have the
turned on video,
presentation.
not the voice. Yes, Austin will be sharing the presentation. Any minute. I can get started before it comes up. Let's see, here we go. All right. Thank you, Austin. Okay, thank you for inviting us to speak today about the OCPC SS4A Comprehensive Safety Action Plan project. Again, my name is Jacqueline Centracchio. I am the project manager. Jeff Maxtutis, Anna Sangri, and Austin Pizzeni are here to present or answer any questions. A lot of this content is similar to what you've seen before, but this will be new if you weren't present at the last meeting, or it'll refresh people's memories that have been here before. In addition, we've updated some of the content based on comments received during the last few meetings, and we'll be able to share the dashboard and interactive map with you this time. Just a quick overview of the agenda. We're going to go over the project goals and objectives. We're going to discuss the different crash analyses, show you the dashboard and interactive map, and then we're going to discuss the next steps for the project. The overarching goal of SS4A is to eliminate the roadway safety or roadway fatalities and serious injuries for all users within the region. The plan objective is to identify the high injury, high risk intersection and roadway segment locations and identify safety trends and overrepresented crash types in each community. Then using that information, we'll propose site-specific and network-wide countermeasures. And I'm going to pass this along to Anna, who'll be discussing the analyses with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacqueline. So as you've, those of you who were at the last meeting
have seen this before, but this kind of goes over the different types of analyses we conducted to identify locations across the network in need of safety improvements. So the two types of analyses we used are the first one answers the question where a crash is occurring now. So this looked at data from 2018 to 2022 and found where the hotspots of crashes occurring across the network, weighted by the severity of the crash, as well as where people are walking and biking and environmental justice communities. The second analysis we conducted was a risk-based analysis. So this looked at roadway characteristics at different locations across the network, places that maybe share similar characteristics to high crash areas, and identified those locations as potentially being at risk of future crashes. We put this together into a high injury network. You can see a picture on the right here that shows the high injury network. You can see there's those red dots are the highest severity locations. These are places with more severe crashes or people walking and biking EJ communities. Next slide. Just to visualize this a little further, the two top locations here in the region are in Brockton on Main Street at the intersection of Legion Parkway and Pleasant Street. They were both identified because of the high number of crashes, as well as fatal and serious crashes and crashes involving people walking or biking. Next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the key findings from the analysis. Some of this will be reviewed for you all, but so the total crashes that happened between 2018 and 2022, there were 39,000 crashes in the network. This is around 22 crashes each day. Of these, 119 resulted in someone dying in that crash. 875 involved a serious injury, and 11,000 crashes were non-serious, so minor injury crashes. So around 32% of all crashes involved an injury in the network from 2018 to 2022. Next slide. As you can see here, Brockton had the highest number of crashes. This accounted for around a quarter of all crashes happened in Brockton, followed by Plymouth and Stoughton. You can see the colors here show the percentage of crashes that involved an injury. Brockton also had the highest percentage of crashes involving an injury in the network. Next slide. This just shows the environmental justice communities in the OCPC region. So you can see the green outline. You can see Stoughton, Avon, Brockton, parts of Halifax, Bridgewater. So 45% of crashes occurred within an EJ community. Next slide. And this, we just thought really important to note transit as part of this analysis. So while 38% of all crashes happen near a transit stop, 61% of crashes that involve somebody walking or biking occurred within a quarter mile of a transit stop or station. So this just shows the importance of safety improvements for people walking and biking near transit stops and stations. Next slide. And I'll turn it over to Austin for this one. Thanks.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah, so this is from some of the comments that we received last meeting about the type of age breakdown of crashes. So we found this really interesting that drivers ages 15 to 24 make up 14% of the population of drivers, yet they're involved in 35% of all crashes. And this is higher than we've seen in other regions as well. And then we also found out that drivers ages 65 and up make up approximately 26% of the driver population, but they only are involved in 18% of crashes. And that's actually a little bit lower than we've seen in other regions. And generally, we've seen that 60% of crashes occurred at an intersection. So focusing on the intersection analysis is going to be really important to this project. And then we also, this is from a comment from last meeting as well, we were looking into crashes per roadway mile. So this is a map of crashes per roadway mile across the OCPC region. So the darker red shows towns and cities that have higher density of crashes per road mile. So you can see Brockton is the highest. So for all crashes, Brockton has 35.74 crashes per roadway mile. So that's approximate. And then the lowest is Plymouth as well, with 5.47 crashes per roadway mile. We also did this analysis for both crashes that were only involving injuries and then crashes that involved vulnerable users. And we'll have that data as well on the dashboard. And And then this is a little bit more of the crash analysis that we went over last time, but as you can see on the left, there's the pie chart for all crashes, and on the right, you can see a pie chart for severe and fatal crashes. And this kind of gives a sense of what sorts of types of crashes we're seeing for these two types. So some of the main points is that single vehicle crashes make up 25% of all crashes, yet they make up 31% of severe fatal crashes. And the same thing we're seeing with crashes that are both non-motorist crashes and head-on crashes. So that's the orange and yellow under the all crashes. So they make up 2% and 4% of all crashes, yet when we look at severe and fatal injury crashes, they make up 14% and 14%. So a really large difference between those two crash types when we're looking at injury crashes. Other main point I wanted to note is how lighting conditions can affect crashes. So this is the same comparison between all crashes and serious and fatal crashes. And you can see the blue dark lighted roadway was 23% of crashes for all. But when we look at serious and fatal crashes, we see that it goes up to 30%. So looking at roadway lighting is going to be a key point for this project when we're looking at countermeasures as well. And finally, this was the main point of our presentation today, was to show our interactive map and dashboard. So I will be able to, this is just a picture, but I will be able to show you a sort of live demo of, where did it go? Give me one moment. I'll stop the share and then I'll pull it right up.
In Austin, we'll have a link to that on our website on the SS4A page, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes, we will. Yep. Thank you.
And are we encouraging people to add to that?
So we'll have a page on the website where people can go and upload their concerns, and I can show you what that will look like in just one moment. Can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, now it should. Okay.
Yep.
So this will be the splash screen for anyone looking at this from the public. So what this basically shows is a map of the region. We have both the trends-based and risk-based high injury networks that you can zoom into and you can get data on, so you can look at different intersections and what sort of crashes are involved there. But the main point we wanted to show is that now you can actually go into this little survey on the right, and let's say you wanted to voice a concern. I'll just pick a random spot for the conversation's sake. But you can place a point. You can tell us the type of safety concern. So right now we have walking concern, accessibility concern, biking concern, driving concern, general safety, or other, if none of those fit your category. So I'm just going to say driving concern, and maybe I think there's a problem with speeding here. So then I can submit this point. And if it works correctly, I should be able to see this in live time on the map. So as people update their survey responses, the points will appear on the map, and then both us and other members of the public will be able to view this and kind of get a sense of where people are seeing the greatest concerns in the community. And you can also submit multiple responses as well. So if you have a lot of ideas, feel free to submit multiple points if you need, and that will all be updated in real time. And then the other part of this, which I believe we showed a bit last time, was the crash dashboard. So this is basically the raw data from the high injury network that we showed earlier. So this gives the whole region again with all of the roadway segments and intersections, and it also gives some of the statistics we provided today. So total number of crashes, total number of fatal crashes, etc. You can also see the top segments and intersections in the region. So if we click on one, we can zoom in and we can see on the map and also get information on this roadway segment. And this is also super helpful for specific towns because you can filter by town. So let's say we wanted to go just for Avon. So now that we filtered by Avon, we can see that all of our statistics have updated We have updated intersections and segments, so now we can see specifically where in the region for each town and city we have high injury locations. And I think that is all I wanted to go over. So if you have any questions on either the public input map or the dashboard, feel free to ask.
So if I could, I have one question.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
So the crash data that you showed in the earlier summary on the beginning of your PowerPoint, does that include interstates and like Route 3, Route 25, or is that just local?
So I believe the crash data does not include interstate roads.
Okay, or like Route 3. And if it does, it might be worth it to break those out a little bit too. And then my second thing, and I know Charlie, so the answer is yes, but we are going to share this PowerPoint with us afterwards.
Yes, it will.
All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Becky.
This is Becky. So are we able today to share this out, or is this still coming up to speed? Is it on the website today?
I believe this will be shared on the website. Maybe if it's not today, then within this week. So
Yeah,
I believe, yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next step slides. Sorry, this is Jacqueline. We will, so our plan is to release it to all of you today to look at and see if you have any comments on it, anything that we should tweak. And then by the end of the week, we are planning on, publicly posting it. And we're going to coordinate with OCPC on that to post it to the website, social media. And then also if each of the communities could post it at that point, that would be helpful too.
Thank you. I'm just getting a lot of questions these days about safety issues and road issues. And it would be good to be able to point them to this.
All right, others have questions?
Yeah, Austin, quick question on the, you said 31% were single vehicle crashes?
Yes.
In that pie chart you had. Do you have it further broken down, or is that fixed roadside elements that they're hitting?
So,
and does it break it down? Is it utility poles? Are we hitting guardrail? That would be useful information from my standpoint.
yes, so that data is broken down in impact and also in our data, like as you said, like what sort of crash people are running into. It's just not shown on the slide here, just for clarity. But yes, that data is available.
It is. Okay, so we query this for that information.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Would we be able to query the dashboard somehow for that information? What are the objects that people are hitting?
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know if it's able to do it currently, but if that's something that is really important, then yeah, I think that could be added.
I would like to know that, because if that's such a high number of single vehicles, then we're hitting fixed roadside elements.
Right.
I'd like to know what those elements are so we can address those in the design process.
Right.
I will say, just from our initial analysis, a lot of utility pole and tree crashes are resulting in the serious and fatal crashes. So that's something we've been thinking about a lot, how to prevent crashes with trees and poles right next to the roadway.
They should be next to the roadway.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and do we also know how many of these crashes are related to substance use?
I don't believe so. We're using Mass DOT impact data, and I don't believe that has complete data on that sort of thing. But that would be a very, very helpful thing to know, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so anyone else have questions for the beta team?
Question on crashes per road mile slide.
Yes.
Is that a standard categorization that you're using in terms of the color coding, like across Massachusetts or nationally?
No, this is not. This is just for visual now.
Okay. So it's unique here to your analysis.
Yeah, just for this visual, yes.
So Avon and Abington are the second highest category, is that right?
Yes, so I have the full data set, but yes, I know that they're within the top 5 in the region.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And one other question, Austin, if you go a little bit before this, there's a vertical bar chart.
Yes.
So
This where you're looking?
yeah, I'm looking, where is the fatal injury in there? So, I mean, does that just track with Brockton's the highest, or I don't see the red sliver in there in any
Yeah,
of
I think
these?
it might, just because of the scaling, it might be really small which is good,
Okay.
but yeah, I think it's just because there's very few crashes.
Is there any way you could adjust the scale so it would be visible?
Yeah, I think in future, yeah, that would be a good point to show that, or even like maybe like a pop out or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So others have any questions?
We did drop the link to the presentation in the chat.
So Charlie, I have a recommendation. I wonder if since there's a lot of questions like this, cities and towns want to look at this, maybe we give them a little bit more time to digest some of the stuff and ask questions. I'm sure, Rich, you guys would like to sit down with Beta and talk through it as well. Does that make sense, to make sure everyone understands what's going out before that goes on the website? Does that generally make sense to folks?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Charlie, I guess just on your end, if you guys can coordinate with that, coordination efforts, and then once everyone's comfortable, or, I mean, obviously not everyone's going to agree or be happy about what the data says, but at least if they understand it, then we can put it out on the website when it makes sense.
Yeah, a MassDOT Beta and OCPC coordination meeting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense to other folks, to board members, to Rich. Does it make sense to you as well?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I think this is great. I just want to understand the nuances of it so we can take advantage of it.
Okay. All right. So Charlie, you guys will set that up and then give more time to talk through everything. And then once it's ready to go, you guys will put it up on the website and share it with the cities and towns, as Jacqueline said, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any last thoughts about this? Last comments?
We do have one more slide.
We have next steps from Jacqueline.
If we want to just close that out and then take any other comments. Austin, can you share that?
Yes, give me one moment.
I know you're toggling between
screens.
Yeah. So basically we have lots of public engagement going on. So this is our final next step slide. And we did put a copy of the dashboard link in the chat. So if you could just copy that, click on it, copy it, save it, so you can take a look at it a little deeper. Let's see. And we'd love, as we've said, we'd love to hear anybody's comments, and we will coordinate with MassDOT and OCPC to take in any other further comments from them. And we'll plan to officially launch it whenever the point makes sense, whenever the timeline makes sense. And we will be reaching out to each community over the next few days. We'll be emailing each community individually. We have a Google Sheet that you can fill in the time that you're available to meet. We are planning for about an hour meeting per community. It doesn't have to be that long, however long it takes. And with those emails, we'll be sending the top crash locations that have been requested, and they'll give us good talking points for during our community meeting. And so again, in the next few days, expect to see that. And we'll be continuing to work on our draft safety evaluation plan and develop countermeasures in the meantime. And also we'll be planning for a public meeting, and we'll be coordinating with OCPC on that.
I would only ask that when you do the meeting with the community representatives, you include the appropriate delegate for the Old Colony Planning Council.
Okay.
All right. Anyone have any last thoughts?
Question,
Yeah.
to whom do comments go to?
Good question.
Charlie, do you want him to go through you, or do you want them to go through Jacqueline? How do you want to deal with it?
Is it comments on the presentation or the community meetings or?
Dashboard and presentation.
You can, if you email it to perhaps both Jacqueline Centracchio and Bill McNulty of our team. So that way they both receive the information.
I can put my email in the chat for
All right, that
anybody
sounds
who
good.
does not have that.
Okay.
And I believe, Jacqueline, if I'm not mistaken, with the community meetings, the communities can share the invite with any and all people that they believe should be in attendance as well.
Exactly. Yep. That's a good point. We planned on saying that in the email, but just so you all know that yeah, you can,
So
we
it's
just
not
have the
like,
list.
right. It's not
and
just a
then-
select board, but could be, 50 people from the community, community representatives, bike ped, environmental justice, transit.
Yeah, whatever you
Yeah,
think will make the most fruitful, effective meeting. Yep.
All right. Any last questions or comments? All right. Thank Jacqueline to your team, and we look forward to seeing this final product soon. Thanks, everybody. Let's move on to the next agenda item, Charlie. All right, we're on agenda item 10, which is other business. Charlie, take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So we have a couple items, just some reminders that the 2024 Moving Together Conference is coming up and early bird registration is now open. It heads up, it closes July 23rd. The actual conference is on October 23rd at the Sheraton Boston Hotel. Next slide. So this is a reminder that MassDOT has launched an online grant management tool called Grant Central. And this is a central clearinghouse for the MassDOT grant programs such as Chapter 90, Complete Streets, Local Bottleneck Reduction Program, and the like. So one of the things in here is they're really populating and adding a lot of information to this dashboard, and it's a great resource. So I encourage everybody to check it out. Next. Hey, as we were talking about, we had that wonderful presentation from Beta Group on Safe Streets for All. Please be advised that there's a NOFO out right now for a planning and demonstration grant activities round, and applications are due August 29th. Commend the City of Brockton for pursuing several grants through this planning and demonstration process, and I understand that they've been awarded demonstration grants, and I understand that Plymouth and Abington might be applying in this round for demonstration grants. So there's hyperlinks to the grant program, and as noted before, the staff report was also posted in the chat for this meeting and contains all of these links. Next slide. So hey, if you haven't heard about it, Federal Funds Infrastructure Office was stood up. It's been a while now, but this is a really nice effort by the Healy administration to have Massachusetts be really competitive in pursuing federal discretionary grants through bipartisan infrastructure law. So they have a team and they have monthly meetings, and it's a very resourceful website. And the next meeting is July 23rd at 2 o'clock. And if you register for this, you will be added to their list, obviously, for the meeting, but then you'll also receive their monthly newsletter. So great resource. And we have here a couple of save the dates. We note that August 20th is likely not going to happen, but we're planning for September 17th, and we're tentatively scheduled with the Secretary Monica Tibbetts not for that. So that's what we have. Open up back up to the chair.
All right. Any questions about other business? All right. I guess the next agenda is to adjourn. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Dan from Whitman.
All right. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 All right, everyone, try to stay cool. We'll see you soon and enjoy the rest of the summer. So, Charlie, did you say, are we meeting in August again? We're not sure we are, right?
That would be a normal date, but unless there's any action items, we respectfully suggest that the MPO does not meet.
All right, so we don't think we'll see you in August, so enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you in September, where Secretary Tibbetts will be with us. Thanks, everybody.
And thanks,
Great,
everyone.
great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.